Today I'm sharing two fun card projects featuring some heart-themed products from Waffle Flower Crafts and a lovely texture die that is designed to work with them, plus a few other goodies that I will throw in as we go. So to see these two cards come together, stick around. That video is coming up next. So here's a look at the products I'll be creating with today, and these are all from Waffle Flower. And I have a couple cool things. This is a cover plate, and it is called the Lattice Heart Texture Die. But the cool thing that I have, and there are actually two stencil sets designed to go with this plate. This is the Lattice Hearts texture, and these designs, they're going to fit right inside the areas that are not impressed with the cardstock. So I'm excited to play with this, and I'll be sure to link the other one as well. I just asked to receive one of the stencil sets, so that is that. There is a new overlapping Love vertical die, and this is that series that Waffle Flower has been doing where you can die cut and then there's an embossed line that shows the particular words. Now there's also a coordinating stencil to help you color this, but I have some ideas today to show you what I'm going to do because I don't have the stencil. And then I just threw that. Then there is also the overlapping additions, and this is that scripty style that is designed to go with the overlapping words, and there are coordinating dies to cut these out, and they pair nicely with the love die. Last but not least, this sweet little 3x4 set. This is called Shape of My Heart, and there is a die that does cut out the heart and the shadow layer. So you could do these hearts in cardstock, you could stamp them. I think I'm going to try stamping some today because I saw a few ideas and I think I'm going to try to do some of those. So let's get started with the first card. So I'm going to start out here with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panel, but I'm going to cut this down, and I'm actually going to use this fun nesting postage collage dies set because I want to make a postage piece that looks like, you know, I've stamped my hearts. So I don't need to do too many, I guess is why I'm pointing this out, but I want to be able to crop it nicely. And I don't think I will use the dies for this card. So I'm gonna open this up. And you know what I think I'll do, just because someone told me to do this while it's on the, you know how when you have a brand new stamp, if you just prime them before you even take them off the sheet, you're going to be golden. Now you can do this also with your fingers. It's just so that the first time you stamp, you get a great coating, right? So I try to remember to do this more and more because then it will save me time to not have to do it every time I pull a greeting out. I will do 3 hearts for my stamp, and I think what we'll do is we're gonna make sure they bleed off. Right? Is that what I want to do? I think so. So I'm going to imagine the placement right here and maybe in a little more like that. Again, it's just kind of a loose placement, but we'll see how this works. Now you can go away for now. Okay. And I will take a couple colors here. I love these two colors together. I think I'm just going to do monochromatic hearts. Okay. I'm not going to do much more fanciness, but I will do, oh, my pink lemonade is pretty dry. Ooh, okay, this might need a re-inking because I know there's more pink in there. Okay, get you there. It actually looks like I ink blended in the center. I didn't. I'm gonna swipe on here. You know what? Okay, I'm going to do it. Hold tight. I don't know if I've ever showed this, but if I'm re-inking, and I don't necessarily have re-inkers for every color, but I try. Here's what I use. I use this Tim Holtz scraper. Is there hair on there? Gosh, this is how videos go sideways, but you know, you got to do it. I go like this. We're going to squeeze it. Oh, you know what would be easier to do is have my ink stand holding my pad, but I'm sure this will be fine. Ink it up. Oh my gosh, don't get ink on yourself. And then I just sort of work it in with the scraper. Okay, yeah, this is super dry. Okay, scraper is super easy to clean off once it's good to go. But these are always so hard to squeeze. I don't have good wrist strength or finger strength. My wrists are just kind of whatever from years of being a graphic designer. So, okay, we're just inking. We're getting that ink. We're spreading it. We're doing a little chop, 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 just lightly. I actually cut a divot accidentally out of this pad when I was trying to get something off of it once, but that's okay. Pads are meant to be re-inked. Now, will I do one more? Sure, why not? You can do little dots like that. That's easy to do, right? Just whatever you do, just let it soak in. And it's only the colors I think that I use the most. This is definitely, I think, my most used pink. It's just a really great pink, but when that pad is a little too dry, you don't get as much coverage on stamping. So, okay, we're gonna let you just sit for a second and think about how awesome you are. Now, I'll just take my cloth, wipe this off, and give it like a little spritz of alcohol. Okay, and clean. So I don't know, they're just, you know, sometimes the behind the scenes things, but I have to do this sometimes. And if there's colors you use a lot, those are probably the ones that it makes the most sense to have re-inkers. Let's see if this looks better. Now it might be super inky, hard to know. We're gonna, oh yeah, look at that. That's what it was supposed to look like. It was supposed to look more inky, and that will give me far more coverage. And I think there's a piece of hair on there. Okay, that might be too much coverage. So let's try this. I am going to just dab on the top because sometimes you get too much ink and you can see because it kind of bubbled out. All right, it's an art form. Let's get another piece of cards. Let's flip it. Can we flip it and still use it? Yes, we can. Now, let's see how that looks. Oh, it's still gonna look a little blotchy. All right, coming down, stamp. All right, let's try this again. I had too much ink, so I had to blot quite a bit off on a paper towel. Now we're good. It's a fine line when you start. Now I was gonna cut that out, but I figured, you know, this stuff happens all the time when we're crafting, so, you know, just roll with it. This should be a little better. Okay, right there for the first layer. Much better. Now it's still a little juicy, okay, but I'm gonna, maybe I'll do like a, yeah, it's still a little juicy, but this will be fine. So I'm gonna get this first heart down, and then I'm going to take this other little piece and layer it in. And actually, I'll zoom in here a little so you can see how it goes in. I think I can do this. I believe in myself today. I'm just gonna set this stamp right on the lid because I'm going to be using that again, and I will take this little part, the shadow, and we will do that. So you just want to put it so it hits right on the heart. All I can do this like, doesn't have to be perfect, Kath. You're just a human making a card. Let's give it a try. Press that into place, and I will take the sweet pea, bring it down, and let's see how we did. Oh, that's not bad. There's a little shadow on it, so not perfect, but not bad. Okay, heart number 1, done. Now I'm going to bring this in to figure out heart number 2, which I think I want to go right about there. So I'll pick you up. So I'm just using the die as a cropping mechanism, right, to figure out the placement. Okay, bring you in and stamp. And I don't think it matters to be off a little bit. I think it's fine with that. We'll see how we do with the second one. Okay, there. Okay, same thing. Get that darker shadow. Like that. Oh, that looks good too. It's a little off up top. So again, you're just stamping. And the thing that I love about this is how stampy it is. That makes sense. Sometimes it's just so fun to just stamp something out. Press that down, get that right in the center, give it 2 passes. All right, love that color. A little off on the side. Again, don't mind that gap. And those are my 3 hearts that are going to be part of this postage panel. I am going to let this dye ink kind of settle and dry because I do want to stamp a little greeting on one of the hearts, maybe 2 of the hearts, maybe 3, but I want to emboss them in white. So I don't want to do that yet because even though the dye ink dries very quickly, you know, I still would like to give it a chance so that the powder will only stick to where I'm stamping. So, and I'm not going to die cut this yet because the die cutting will help to flatten it out. But I can move on to making my background panel. While that's drying, I'm going to take this panel die, and I've got a piece of the pink pink lemonade cardstock. I'm just going to line this up perfectly on my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. I'll show you that. I've got the camera set up today. It looks very different in lighting, but here we go. There we go. Right over here. Turn it on. And run it. All right, and now we'll see what this looks like with our little pattern cut into it. So now I'm going to ink blend with the stencils onto this piece. Next, we're going to add some things to this piece with the stencil set. So I'm going to line this, and here's what's beautiful. You line it right up on the edge. Oh no, I want the big ones, sorry. I want to do this one right on the edges of the panel. And all I have to do is make sure is that framed out all the way around? I know I can do it. I have the newest grip mat underneath. I just cut I keep them in pockets now, so that's why you don't see the black little framing, the black acetate, if that makes sense. And I love that this can seal it in all the goodness. And now what I'm going to do, and I want to show you this because this is a really cool holder for these big waffle flower brushes, which I have barely begun to explore, but that is something I'm going to be doing more of. They're from Annie's Little Boxes, and they're perfect for holding these. So I was using a big test tube holder, and then I was like, you know what? I bet I could get something else. So now I will go ahead and get this. Now this will be good for this brush to get some seasoning because of the pink that I just re-inked. Okay, so we're going to get you going. I just want to make sure there's pink on here, and I'm just going to do a tone on tone. Okay, super easy to do for a background. I know that waffle flower shows holding like that, but I kind of just like to hold it like this. It feels good to do that. And we'll just get this tone on tone pink going. All right, that looks pretty good. And again, I wanted it to be kind of subtle. Where's my pick? There you are. Okay, so I can lift it up and see. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, hearts are there. And then I will clean off the stencil, again with a little spritz of alcohol. quick drying and easy to clean. Although I like to use this little flat weave e-cloth because it doesn't catch in any of the openings. There are no fibers on it, it's all flat. Okay, so there's that. Now let's bring in the little hearts. Now you could do other fun things here too, like you could use some pastes in here and add some really pretty details to your thing. I think I'm just going to keep it really simple. And for this one, I'm going to bring in the sweet pea. And honestly, I could just use the same big brush. It'll go quicker. But I will, and I only have a pink brush. You know, I use the same one for color families. So here, we'll just load up this brush, make sure it's on there, and I'm just going to add a little bit of this darker color to these little hearts. It'll just make a fun little background that has color connections to the panel that I put the hearts on. And they are perfectly centered right between the pattern. All right, lift that up. And that is my little background panel. So now I have this cute little tone on tone with a little of that same pink. And these are going to tie together really nicely once I stamp on this and then cut it out. Before I go ahead and stamp on this, I just want to do the little test where you see if your pieces are ready to take the powder, and that is this, right? Just pour it on and see if it sticks. Well, there's a little sticking over there. Do you see that? See, it's not quite, oh, I should have done it there. It's not quite there, and that happens with dry or dye inks. So I'm gonna just let this dry a little bit more. Oh, I could hit it with a heat tool. I just did it on the lower setting, and I think that will help. And plus, now that I've got it on my other little grip mat in there, it probably should stay pretty well. But what we need to do is figure out the placement. So I need to bring this in right about there. I think that is the crop that I like. And now I can take these and place them. And then I know, there's little schmutz there. Then I know that where I put them, and you know, no, I'm not going to use tape because that will introduce something else that is sticky. I will know that these will not get cropped off. So a little love you there. Yeah, that's going to be a little tight because of the exclamation point. So I think I'm going to have to do something smaller. Love you. How about, again, kiss me. I'll just do only you. So just making cute little conversation hearts here, right? And those are going to angle. I think that's going to be perfect. So I'm going to emboss these in white, and then we're going to trim this whole thing down. Well, that's the plan for this card, and I think it's going to be kind of fun. Now I will powder this up really well with the anti-static powder, even though I know it's dry. It's just going to help the powder slide off. Okay, so we're going to do this. I will walk my fingers over here, each one. I'm probably going to stamp this twice. Oh, I can totally see that though. That's great. I love that it shows up because we're not stamping on white. So the placement's great. And then we will add our powder. And then if there's any that sticks to that darker purple area, I can dust it away. But I actually think it doesn't look bad. Okay, I'll just do that. And I will funnel this back in and just take a closer look at those edges. Well, I see a little tiny bit. So I keep these little angled shader brushes just for stuff like this. If I don't want any of that, I just go along the edge. I tell you, the ink, it was not completely dry. So there you go. I think that is ready to melt powder. I love how that just pops. Isn't that cute with the white? Now I can see I did have one little tiny piece of embossing powder there. I wonder if I can kind of get that off. A little. Okay, that looks great. Now I can cut this out. So now I take that crop that I had planned, make sure we get every little bit in that we wanted. Oh, it's popping up. I think I'm going to tape this though. I don't want that to do that when I'm doing what I'm doing. So put a little tape on to hold it in place. My mat is magnetic, but that doesn't mean it always works the way it's supposed to. The more you start cutting into it, the less magnetic it becomes. So let me run this through. All right, and now, got a little mucky muck on there. Now I am going to go get some sweet pea cardstock and I'm going to cut out the postage background frame. Now I can mount this right onto the little postage layer, and then I'm going to put all of this popped up onto the panel that I blended. Okay, forgive my head if it gets in the way. I just want to make sure I'm right over that stitch. And I love that it has the little stitching. Isn't that cute? It just looks like the cutest little Valentine. Okay, I'm going to take some foam tape while I'm here. Just a couple strips for popping this up. That. So cute. Next, I'm going to make a note card, and I think I'm just going to do it out of pink lemonade because I think it will be pretty to have just that pink vibe. And I'll score, I'll score this at 5.5. Doesn't really matter that I just did that because I'm going to glue the blended panel right onto this note card. Okay, so that can go in here, and then this guy is going to glue right on top like that. And I think I will just do, again, I hope I don't run out of tape runner. Tape runner here on the edges, just to hold it nicely to the paper cardstock base. Just trying to make sure I get the sides first. There we go. There, that's what happens. Let me add a little more. It just always happens when I'm filming. It never runs out. Unless I'm doing that. Okay, so now I have this panel, and you're just going to use that edge of your score buddy to quickly line it up like that. You know what? I'm going to use a little liquid glue. In fact, I'm just going to grab this Simon Craft glue because it comes out so easily here. I just want to have a little float time before I commit to the placement. Liquid glue is going to give you that. And I'm going to pop it right in the center. It's actually pretty easy because of the hearts, I think, right? And then I can get my ruler. Well, I guess that's a big one. And just make sure that's straight. That looks pretty straight. All right. And there's that. I think I'm going to add some candy dots. These are the JJ's Rainbow, and they're just some little self-adhesive dots, and I like that we have some colors here that tie in with the colors that I just used for the card. So I'm just going to do 3 gatherings of 2, which, you know, is that an odd number? Not the 2, but I think this is really cute just as a sweet way to finish out this particular card. Come here now, get on there. Craft pick, best way to add these kinds of things. And because then you can see where it's going. I want it that, no, I want it that way. and press them down. And that's my finished card project, opening up with pink. Such a cute little Valentine. All right, that's card 1. For the next card, I'm going to do some more ink blending, but this time I'm going to do a blend of these colors, meaning I'm going to not just do pinks, but I'm going to try to go, let's get you in here, all the way down the panel as best I can. Let me just get you all lined up. I think I may have cut my panel a little short, but it's going to line up perfectly. I'm going to seal it in, and then I'm going to speed this up because it's the same thing that I did before, but you can see all of the colors, let's see here, as they come in, and I work my way. Well, let's see, how about that? I'll have everything linked, but sometimes it's nice to be able to see what the color is that I'm using. Okay, let's start blending. It's been a while since I've done a really simple rainbow blend, but I love doing it. And for this particular project, I mixed some of my ink companies because cantaloupe is my favorite orange and butter is one of my favorite yellows. So it's okay to mix your inks, match them, use what you love, because that's definitely what I do when I'm looking for the perfect color. So we're going to end this with celery. And now I have this beautiful little rainbow blend of hearts. This is already very different from card 1. But once I lift this, I have that. And now I thought it would be fun to show you how to add some texture. So I'm going to tape this all down. In retrospect, I probably should have adhered the actual panel with some low-tech adhesive, but there you go. It's all going to work. And I am going to add Hero Wax. Now, this is a really cool product. One of the things I love about it, it's super creamy, it's neutral, but it's shiny as well. So the color is white, but it will give this really beautiful tone-on-tone shine, and it's very easy to work with. The other cool thing about this is you can tint this. You can put a little on a slick surface, add some dye ink to it, and mix it up and create a custom color. But I just wanted this to remain simple and neutral. And now when I lift this, I slowed the video down a little for the reveal. Oh, it came out great, and now I just have to let it dry. While that Hero Wax is drying, I went ahead and die cut the love just from some matte silver cardstock, and then I cut 4 heavyweight cardstock, 110 cardstock layers to create this, element that feels like a chipboard element, because that, I can't put it on quite yet because I'm not sure if it's dry. That's going to go on my card. It's going to be really pretty. So I need the greeting part, and that is going to be these overlapping love additions. And I'll just do these in silver because I think that would be really cute. Even though the Hero Wax is a white paste, it's actually, let me see if I can show you this. It's actually like a pearlescent. So it comes across more like a white silver than anything, and it just adds a little texture and shine to this. So that's why I'm going to emboss using silver powder for stamping. I think I'll do love and hugs. You can cut them out. I think you can cut out the ampersand. Let me see. Yep. Did I mention this is an Altenew eraser? It comes in a 3-pack. It's really a stamp conditioning eraser. That's what it's designed for. Nothing, it's like a really smooth, I don't know what it's made of, but it works magic. Okay, let's take the ampersand, put you here. If I'm smart, I could do this twice just to make sure that I get it right. Like stamp it a couple times, but I'm going to roll the dice that I have the skill. We shall see. All right, pick that up and take my anti-static powder like that. Versamark ink. Everything's kind of buried right now on my, it's always a bit of a mess when I'm making a card, but that's part of the fun. Okay, bring you down. And I'm just going to use my fingers for this because it's small. And then I'll do it one more time to ensure I have a nice coating. Okay. I'm going to use the same piece of paper that I just used for the white. What I do is just wipe with a Swiffer cloth in case there's any white powder in there. I don't need to mix it. I'm going to move this so it doesn't get covered with mucky muck. And we are going to add our powder. And I'll add this ultrafine silver powder. It's going to look great. A little chunky. All right. Yep, I can brush away any extra that I don't need. And there's just a little tiny bit right up there. It's hard for you to see, but I can see that and just want to get those extra little pieces out before I melt. All right, I'll heat my heat tool and melt this powder. All right. Now I have a nice shiny silver greeting. I'll grab the dies and cut these out. I went ahead and mounted my panel onto a note card. I actually did a lighter weight note card thinking that that would be good, but either lighter or darker would work. But look at that. Isn't that cool how there's just that it's textural and it's neutral, but also depending on how you see it in the light, it shines like the top of the Chrysler building. Okay, and then I have these, and I think all I'm going to do is place this right in the center. I'm going to use liquid glue. I'll just grab this one because it comes out so nice and quickly. And because this has those 4 total layers of cardstock, I think it's going to be nice from a dimensional standpoint. Sit right here, and I'm going to bring in my ruler just so that I'm sure that it is straight. Let's see, let's visualize that. Is that same from side to side? Basically like that. I'm looking at that. That looks pretty close to the center if I'm looking at that and that and that. Maybe a little slide. I'm just going to pop this on so I can make sure that the base here, the E, is perfectly straight, and press that down. Okay, and then all I have to do is glue on. I want the hugs to hit right on the V, so it's, see, you can easily make out the letters even if you don't have the stencil. So I think I'm gonna do the hugs first. You have to let it sit though for a second because it's slick, the metallic or the matte paper. So you just want to, oh, there's no upside down here. You just want to make sure that you give it a second. It's going to take a little bit to dry completely. So I'm going to pop that right across where you can still get up there. See, I don't want to touch it again. I'm just going to let it dry because otherwise I'm going to slide it all around. But here, you do want to make sure that you can still read the E. I think you can. And then I think I'll just put the ampersand right above. So just 2 different looks with that really cute background stencil and die panel. I just think it's so cute. All right, I'm going to hold that and I'm going to just walk away and let that adhere completely. And that is the finished card project. I love having this full panel. I didn't want to trim it down because of these little embossed patterns. I didn't want the edges to drop off at all, if that makes sense. But look at how cool that is. I love it so much. Yeah, and that's a white note card that opens up. Of course, I have it taped closed right now just to keep it a little flat, but how fun is that? All right, we have 2 cards today. Let's do a quick design review. So we'll start out here with the first card. We'll slide this over and I'll bring in my little overlay grid, which is actually looking a little warped. I think I need to get some, do I need some magnets here? Hold on here, hold on. I gotta put one there, slide that up. It's gotten kind of warpy. I wish I could get a, oh, what about that? There you go. We'll put those on to hold it down. Okay, it's kind of warpy. Well, anyway, this grid divides our space on a US A2 panel, and I made this, and you can make one too. There's always a link in my YouTube description that talks about the blog post and the download and how you do it. So I won't talk about that, but I'll talk about these quadrants, right? This is just a compositional grid. And what we have here is we have a nice wide margin on the outside of our little postage frame element. We have 1, 2, 3 repeating elements that are the same, the little pink hearts. We have the repeating embossing that also repeats. That was redundant. And it also picks up a little bit from the white. So you have your white background and your white embossing. We also repeat our dots in little groupings here, 2 groupings each, but 3 total. And then all of these colors repeat. The background cardstock is the same color as the ink, tone on tone, and that same sweet pea ink all the way around. And this doesn't really have any dominant greeting, right? We just have the little fun candy heart look. And I think that's kind of cool sometimes to, have something that doesn't have a big dominant greeting. Of course, I put that on a pink note card, and that is card 1. Card 2 is really fun and fresh as well. I'm going to put it this way so you'll see those dots. Just ignore that. It just hovers a little bit more nicely. And here too, this is just a very center-weighted design. Everything's in the middle. There's not a lot going on other than this beautiful rainbow blend of the hearts. And then we have a little bit of that beautiful shine from the paste. So that really reflects and repeats the shine both on the matte silver cardstock and the silver embossing. I really like how they both turned out. They're similar but different, right? But I think that, I think this little panel and the hearts are really fun. Love the stacked love. And I think these hearts, and considering I didn't even do anything with the fact that you can cut these out, I should show you this before you can also cut these out from cardstock too. So you could layer the two together, and that gives you a heart out of cardstock. So I'm gonna have to definitely try that in other projects, but that completes the video for today. You can find links to all of the products I used today in the YouTube description box. Just look for the visual supply list. I'll also have a blog post with photos and more details about these cards as well. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I'd love to have you, so please hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here is another video featuring some fun products from Waffle Flower that you may want to check out, and I'll see you in that video. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.